now it's time to move on to talk about Julian Alvarez. Some interesting comments coming out from Julian Alvarez, not just from him, but also from Guardiola. Um, uh, uh, yeah, it's a interesting talk going around him. The main question is, will he leave Manchester City? Should he leave Manchester City? Julian Alvarez is a unique player. Very, very talented, very, very gifted, very versatile, and do a lot of different roles. He can be, that sort of number nine, a vertical type of number nine that can go in behind and really stretch an opposition, has quality, has pace, but also give you a brilliant work rate with his ability to run. He has that element to him, but he also has an ability where he could be a focal point, sort of creative player, that he was able, when De Bruyne was hurt, able to play in that midfield, sometimes be the main creative force in the team because he has creativity. He also has ability to play on the wing. He can play anywhere in that front three attacking midfield. He has versatility to play in any of those sort of positions, and he's a perfect sort of player because when you have him on the pitch, he can interchange. He can interchange with a lot of players. I really think he's a similar player to Griezmann. Very, very similar. So when I saw the links to Atletico, I was like, that can be the next Griezmann for Diego Simeone because he gives you versatility. I think he has brilliant work rate. He really reminds me of Antoine Griezmann. He's an absolutely amazing player, Julian Alvarez, and he's completed everything. He's won a World Cup, he won Champions League, he won Club World Cup, he won everything. So he's a guy that's done it all, and he's still very, very young. And the thing is, to act like Julian Alvarez doesn't play at Manchester City is doing a disservice because he does. He does get play. He has a lot of appearances this past season. But the two things is, a lot of those appearances did come from off the bench, number one. And a lot of those appearances also came from players getting hurt. But the other big thing is, these appearances don't come in the big games. He's not starting against the likes of a Liverpool, against the likes of an Arsenal, against the likes of a Real Madrid in the Champions League on the big stage. He's not starting and having a big impact in those sort of games. He's a bit part sort of player in those sort of games. And Julian Alvarez, he believes he has the quality now, being age 24, has the experience that he wants to be that starter game in, game out. He wants to be that sort of player that is relied upon by his manager to be the talisman of a team. He doesn't just want to be Erling Haaland's running mate for a while of his career. He does not want to do that. So, he has a decision that he needs to make. He has a decision that he needs to make, and there's been a little bit of a, not back and forth, but a comment from Julian Alvarez, then a comment from Guardiola, and it's interesting what's going on. First of all, so Julian Alvarez, he said before the Ukraine match that they took on today, he said there is a lot of talk. I am focused here at the Olympics because it is a short tournament. At Manchester City, I feel very good. I play a lot of minutes, but we will see after the games. First, if I can, I will take a few days off. Then we will decide. He also said, maybe it's annoying to be out in big games. Players always wanted to help on the pitch, but my season was good, so I'm very happy. Then Guardiola, who's currently part of the City's preseason tour in the United States, talked about the comments that Alvarez made about him thinking about his future, which was interesting that he was even willing to address it, saying, he said this, I don't think about replacing. I know he wants to play in important matches, but the other players want that too. We have 18 or 19 players who want to play in the important games. I read he has to think about it. So, okay, think about it, and after that, he will inform us what he wants to do. I think that's I know, a lot of people talk about Guardiola. If a player wants to leave, he'll let him leave and all that. But I think that's kind of, you know, I'd be a little frustrated from Julian Alvarez because that's kind of him saying, okay, you want to stay? Okay, we'll keep you. But if you don't want to stay, we're fine. He didn't really show that sort of desire that, players want to feel like they want to be wanted. I think Julian Alvarez wants to be wanted by the manager and doesn't want to be looked at as a bit part player. If he was at a club like Atletico Madrid or something, if he were to come out with comments like this questioning his future, the manager wouldn't go, we'll let him think about it, and then whatever he wants to do, he'll come and tell us. The manager would be like, no, we want Alvarez to stay. He's a big part of the team. We love him, blah, 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 blah. Those are comments that kind of, could rub Alvarez the wrong way because we know soccer players, they have egos and they want to be wanted. They want to be loved by their manager. And you don't really get that sentiment reading what Guardiola had to say. And yeah, it's really crazy. Not crazy, but it's I don't know. It's difficult. Mm-hmm. Mm. But uh, but I think Julian Alvarez can be a big player at another club, really. And should he or should he not? I mean, he's completed everything he's needed to complete it at Manchester City in terms of winning. And to be honest, Erling Haaland, he's not exactly 35 or 36. This is not a player, maybe he leaves or maybe he's not. But, Alvarez doesn't want to put himself in a position that I have to wait on Erling Haaland. Alvarez wants to continue to play big-time minutes for a big-time club and be the vocal point of a Champions League team game in, game out. And I think he's done enough so far in his stint at Manchester City to prove to other clubs that he can be that sort of player. So, I don't have any problem with him wanting to leave, and quite frankly, I applaud him because, well, he wants to take that next step in his career that is away from Manchester City. Usually, Manchester City is the next step in a lot of people's career, and I don't think this is this similar situation with like Gabriel Jesus. I think this is a Julian Alvarez that has more upside than that. I really do. In terms of, I think Guardiola, was, wanted to find a way to push Gabriel Jesus out. He just didn't fancy him anymore. I don't think that's the case with Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez is just Julian Alvarez finds himself in a position that he's not good enough to, be in the team game in, game out, but he's not bad enough to be useless for Guardiola, or he's too good to just be, he's way too good to just be some sort of bit part useless player to Pep Guardiola. He's kind of in that middle ground. So I think a move will be best for him. And it'll be interesting to see if he can get that move.